Ladies and gentlemen, the participants of knowledge sharing session in this room with the theme environment and ecosystem health. Allow me to read the profile of our moderator today. Our moderator is Dr. Nefiati Zamani. Can you? Okay, please. Dr. Nefiati Zamani, Master of Science. She is from Department of Marine Science from IPB University. Her background of the study is PhD in Newcastle upon Tyne University, UK. Master of Science in Newcastle upon Tyne University, UK. Her major interest, coastal and small island management, integrated coastal management, marine biology and ecology, marine ecosystem restoration, marine biosystematics, and genetics. So, we invite Dr. Nefiati Zamani to come on stage to lead this session. Big applause to Dr. Nefiati Zamani.
Uh, thanks. Uh, Thank you very much for our Master of Ceremony this morning. And Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. And today I will be your moderator for session 2 with the title Environment and Ecosystem Health. We have 5 speakers. Then I would like to suggest, because this is a hybrid presentation, we have 2 presenter will be presented online and the other 3 will be offline. So I would like to suggest for the first session, we will invite our online speaker, and after that we will have answer and question for our online speakers, and then we move to the second session for the other 3 speakers for offline session. For this activity, I hope our presenter online is already on the Zoom meeting. That I would like to call for the first presenter, Professor Dr. Ferdinand Yulianda. Okay, so before start for the presentation, I will read the short CV for Professor Dr. Ferdinand Yulianda. He is the Dean of Faculty Fisheries and Marine Science, IPB University, and get a PhD in IPB University Indonesia and Master in Aarhus University Denmark. Professor Ferdinand have specialists in aquatic conservation and ecotourism, aquatic resource conservation, marine ecotourism, and aquatic ecology, conservation and marine tourism. And also I would like to invite our second online presenter, Professor Dr. Wang Kinhua. Please the CV. Okay. Professor Dr. Wang Kinhua, Deputy Secretary General PNLG Secretariat and Deputy Director Coastal and Ocean Management, Institute Xiamen University from China, and Education Postdoc Research in School of Public Affairs and School of Economics of Xiamen University, and Gerard J. Mangun Center for Marine Policy, College of Marine and Earth Science, University of Delaware, and also get the PhD in Environmental Science from Xiamen University. Research interest, the interface of science and management in the coastal area, such as strategic environmental assessment, marine spatial planning, and marine environmental policy. The title today is Mangrove Restoration in Xiamen, Multiple Function and Integrated Management in an Urbanized Context. So we invite the 2 speakers in the Zoom meeting. and each speakers will present it presentation for 15 minutes, and after presented the two speaker presented the presentation, then we will have answer and question for the two speakers around 10 minutes. So please, Professor Ferdinand Yulianda, you can have your time for presentation for your topic for 15 minutes. Time is your Prof. Ferdinand. Probably the organizer can check. Prof. Ferdinand is already in the Zoom meeting. I think I see his name on the. Okay. Probably because actually the schedule is 9:20, yeah. We move to the 9. So Professor Dr. Fang Kinhua, I see also already in the Zoom meeting. So please, Dr. Fang, you can start first for your presentation for 15 minutes. Okay. Probably the organizer can have to chat with Dr. Fang. Hello. Yeah. Halo.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Alhamdulillah. Okay. So, Prof. Ferdinand, we already introduced you and with your CV. I hope Prof. Ferdinand is our first speaker. We'll start for the speech today. So we have two online person, Prof. Ferdinand and Mr. Fang. So after the two speaker, then we will have answer and question. So this is time for you, Prof. Ferdinand.
Okay, Bu Nevi, your voice is. Can you speak louder gitu? I cannot hear that.
Okay, sorry. Now, can you hear my voice? Hello?
Yes, it's better.
Okay. So we will start with the first two speakers because both are online. And after the two speakers, we will answer and question for 10 minutes. And then we will move to the offline session. So you are for the first speaker for the online session. So this is your time for 15 minutes, Prof.
15 minutes from now, ya. Oke. Ya. Ya, terima kasih Bu Nevi, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody. My voice is clear? Or?
Yes, very
clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Today I would like to talk about the marine conservation and ecotourism. May I introduce my name is Ferdinand Yulianda. Yeah. I'm the Dean of Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Sciences. My field is aquatic resources management. Yeah. Especially interested in marine conservation and ecotourism. It's why I'm talking about the marine conservation and ecotourism today. Please next slide, please. Okay. So one thing that is the fundamental in the implementation of conservation is a strong understanding of conservation, carried out with a philosophical approach to conservation. So if we talk conservation, that meaning is equilibrium. The balance between life and death, and the balance of utilization and carrying capacity will prioritize the existence of continuous resources. Please next. Okay. So the concept of conservation, which implies preventing damage and improving resources, is a form of a contribution to natural resources based economic development. It is understood that conservation ensures the sustainability of natural resources so as to contribute to sustainable economic development. The concept of conservation in the management of natural resources is very important in order to control the existence of these resources so that they are sustainable, so that their use is sustainable also. The balance between utilization and potential of existing resources will occur if there is a meeting point between the influence of resources use and the tolerance capacity of these resources. Utilization of coastal and marine resources will affect the position of the balance of resources caused by disturbance to the existence of these resources. Please next. Next slide, please. Okay. So if we talk about the conservation, the question is how to apply the conservation. The ordinary people usually understood that the conservation should be applied in only the conservation area, but it's not true, I think. So the conservation of concept should be applied at all the area, not only the conservation area. Please next slide. Okay. So the component that must be considered for the sustainable use of coastal and marine resources are the resources themselves. Information about the resource, their management regulation, integration of management, and socioeconomics. The ultimate goal of management is economic income and community welfare. If we look at this management cycle, natural resources are the main capital in management. In order to maintain the sustainability of the economy, we must ensure sustainable resources. Resources sustainability can only be achieved with the conservation approach. Please, next slide. Okay. So we talk about the conservation purpose here. Conservation should not be ignored by economic actors. Due to the conservation has a good purpose for the management of natural resources. There are three objectives of conservation management, namely protection, preservation, and utilization. First, about the protection. We have to protect the diversity of biota, the presence of endangered or rare species, protects against habitat destruction and degradation. And the second, ensuring the existence of ecological systems of all ecosystems run well despite the dynamics of changes caused by the nature and human activity. Controlling utilization remains below the carrying capacity so that utilization can be sustainable.
Halo.
Hello.
Oke, Pak Frank.
Please move to other slide. Okay. We know, the type of tourism based on an object approach. There are four kinds of tourism, namely wildlife tourism, natural-based tourism, natural area tourism, and tourism. So from kind of tourism activities, we divide it into two sustainable concepts in management, such as ecotourism and sustainable tourism. So we know that now there are different between ecotourism and sustainable tourism. Strong sustainable tourism is called ecotourism concept. For the sustainable tourism, could be several objects will be sustained. Could be resources, could be economic, could be visitor, will be sustained. But for the ecotourism concepts, it's only natural resources. We do not look at the economic and sustainable visitor. Okay, so I will explain more detail about the concept of ecotourism in the next slide. Okay. The concept of marine ecotourism apply to, for example, to snorkeling and diving tours. Consider human satisfaction in the life side here, and the preservation of coral reef or natural resources. Human as connoisseurs of coral reef object will get tourism satisfaction through the beauty of the underwater ecosystem, knowledge of the life system on coral reef or natural resources, as well as educational aspects of loving natural resources. The natural resources get attention from Nature Protection Management Service in the right side, and tourist behavior to protect and love natural resources. Ecotourism also has a mission to change behavior to protect and love natural resources. Ecotourism also has a mission to change the visitor behavior and raise or increase awareness of the life system. Visitors' concern is expected to rise after seeing the beauty of the diversity of natural resources. For example, knowing that the coral are very vulnerable to damage and take a long time to recover.
You still
The
have
sustainability of the use of marine tourism is largely determined by the strategy applied to the management of marine tourism that prioritize the authenticity of natural resources. Therefore, we need a tourism development strategy that prioritizes the sustainability of natural resources object as the basis for tourism design, not the facilities to be developed. The development of ecotourism management must be in synergy in line with the objective of conservation area, such as maintaining ecological process that support living system. And the second is to protect biodiversity. The third is preserving and utilizing natural resources, species, and their ecosystem. The fourth is to improve the welfare of the local community, so that the existence of coral reef resources is related to the use of sustainable tourism service in encouraging economic development. It's very good now. So we move to next slide.
You have 2 minutes.
Okay, carrying capacity. The concept of carrying capacity is the maximum limit of habitat degradation and resources reduction that can be tolerated by nature. So that the carrying capacity can be understood with the approach of a habitat or ecosystem of or areas and the approach of population. The carrying capacity of the area is defined as the ability of nature to tolerate environmental changes caused by human activities so that ecological process run in balance. The carrying capacity approach in management consider 3 aspects, namely ecology, social, and economic. Ecological carrying capacity is the main indicator in determining the utilization capacity of marine ecotourism.
1 minute left, Prof.
Okay, I think I have still 2 slides. Yeah, next slide. Marine ecotourism, especially diving and snorkeling tourism. The object coral reefs, so the calculation of their carrying capacity consider the presence of coral reef, not the area of the island itself. Okay, next slide, please. Now, the potential of coral reef for marine tourism can be calculated by approaching the area of coral reef in area. So the suitability of coral reef resources for diving and snorkeling tourism activity is the basis for calculating the carrying capacity of marine tourism. Calculation of the carrying capacity of coral reef areas is very important to know as the basis for developing marine tourism, for example, snorkeling and diving. The carrying capacity of marine tourism in Marine National Park in this picture in section 1 and 62, is around 2,148 people for snorkeling tours, and 2,424 people for diving activity. The character and distribution of coral reef on the island itself generally has a larger area of marine tourism potential for snorkeling tourism activities than diving tourism. This is due to the fact the stretch of reef at a shallow depth with a depth of less than 3 meters is wider for snorkeling tourism activities, while the shore area with a depth of more than 6 meters is relatively narrow for diving tourism activity. The last slide, please. Okay, that's all that I can tell about the marine conservation and ecotourism, Bu Nevi.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Ferdinand. We will move to the second presenter, Professor Dr. Fang. And after that, we will have a question and answer for the two speakers. So please, Professor Dr. Fang, are you already in the room?
Yes,
Okay.
please allow me to share my screen first. Uh, can you see my screen?
Yes, it is clear. Then I will start the time when you start speaking.
Okay, so may I start now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry for I have to set on the sharing screen. My name is Qinghua Fang. I'm going to talk about a mangrove restoration in Xiamen. Use a wetland park recently as a case study. So first is the background. I think we all have known about the big pressures. For example, the fishing, deforestation, habitat loss, and recently climate change on the marine life. So that's why we need ecosystem restoration. For example, the coral reef, sport marsh, salt marsh, mangrove, seagrass, etc. And we can see from the figures that this region is actually one of the hotspot. And if we look at the numbers of the project, restoration projects, you can see it's increasing sharply, both in worldwide and also in China. And that's also the reason why the United Nations called the decade ecosystem restoration to restore the degraded and destroy ecosystem. So I will jump to the Xiamen. So I hope you're familiar with Xiamen. So as other coastal cities, Xiamen is also facing the increasing pressures on the marine ecosystems. And yeah, we are, and we have the PEMSEA and the Xiamen had been the demonstration site of the ICM in this region. So PEMSEA in the past 3 decades has developed the ICM working model. And if we look at the working model, actually the habitat protection, restoration, and the management has also been included in the early projects and the programs of the ICM framework of PEMSEA, which are included in the Sustainable development aspect. And so in the Xiamen, we also have conducted many large-scale ecological restoration projects. For example, the West Sea Comprehensive Cleanup and other base comprehensive ecological construction, and also the dike opening and artificial beach restoration, and so on. And this is the case I like to talk. It's a wetland park, we call it Xiao Tanwei. It's located in the Tong'an Bay, in the inner bay, and about 400 hectares, including around 50 land, and the rest are the water. And the mangrove actually was spread it in this area, but it was changed to aquaculture, mudflat, and shrimp pond in the 1960s. And so the local government decided to restore the mangrove in Xiaotanwei areas. So this is the plan. There are 3 areas, include ecological and also for recreational and the pop science areas. And from here you can see the implementation of the plan started actually early in the 2005. Some experimental mangrove forest plantation by the famous scientist who was called the father of the mangrove research in China, Professor Lin. And then it initiated in the small areas, and then it's expanded to and included in the big project of the local government and also the central government. And recently there's a new project called the Blue Carbon Theme Pavilion is planning, so which will feature pop science and education, and also training, scientific research, public interactions, and so on. So this is some pictures of the process. You can see the engineering methods, including the mudflat top graphic design. So I'm not going to talk about the details, and also the landscape design, and to use the different species which will grow in a different speed, so that they will shows the landscape as we want. It looked like I love China. This is the map, the 5 stars of the on the national flag, and also there's some new technology has been applied in this project. And if we look at the monitoring result, because the monitoring has not started early, so we have only 2 years result. But if we look at the result, we can see the mangrove area is now on a steady process. And if we look at the benthic fauna, it also shows the necessary of the long-term regular monitoring. And also birds, we have some monitoring birds, and compared to this area before restoration, we have seen many more species of the birds in these areas. So just very quick introduction to the project, and what I'd like to share with you is that what lessons we can learn from this project. I think that the Xiaotanwei Wetland Park provides a good example for us of how mainstreaming the integrated coastal management into the decision-making at the local government. And you're familiar with the Xiamen ICM project. So in the early stage, we have the ICM experience, Xiamen model from the legislation and the planning coordinating mechanism, integrated law enforcement, scientific and technology support, and also public participation. And then if we look at the ecological or ecosystem restoration projects in Xiamen, we see the change from the Yundan Lake, which was an environmental improvement prioritized model, to the Yuan Bay is a comprehensive bay development, which is oriented at blue economy. And also the ICM practice in Xiamen also has been upscaled to the watershed and also the neighbor city. So we can see the practice of ICM in Xiamen is actually an adaptive process, and which combine the concept of integration with the local context and also the national policies like the ecological civilizations. And if we look at the ecological restoration as we can see the principles which proposed by the UN and the many other international organizations. If we look at those principles that from the global contribution, broad engagement, and many type of activities, benefit to nature and people, and so on. So we can see actually that align with the integration, different integration dimensions of the ICM. And from the practice of the Shatanway, we can also see how the experience of ICM has been applied. For example, the first question to answer is where to conduct the ecological restoration. So why we choose Shatanway here, that's actually based on the scientific research of the marine ecosystem protection and restoration of the Xiamen Bay as a whole, and focus on the different species and also the whole ecosystem integrated. And you can see here we use the model and also ArcGIS to evaluate the suitability of the mangrove restoration. So you can see Shatanway is actually has the most suitability for the replanting of the mangrove, and so that is the basis for the planning of the Shatanway. And if we look at if we look at the different ecosystem services, so the existing ecological restoration, one of the problems is that it focuses more on the ecological benefit, most of them, almost 80%, but had less regards on the social and economic concern. So we use the ecosystem services evaluation framework to identify what the restored wetland provide the ecosystem services. So we can we identify that, and then we do the evaluation, and then we find that 31 million RMB every year the wetland will provide for the whole society. And of course, there are many indicators that are actually underestimated. And at the same time, also in the process of the restoration, the local community and also the public has been involved in the process. And also it's not just about the planting of the mangrove. It's about the combination of the multiple functions, including the cultural, the landscape we mentioned before, and Xia Wetland Park also is also the pioneer in the national carbon neutrality strategy. It has been recognized as a mangrove to offset the carbon emission of the BRIC summit in 2017 in Xiamen, which has been increased, attract the interest of the Ambassador Peter Thompson, who is the UN Secretary General Special Envoy for the ocean. He visited Jiatanwei Wetland Park and praised that project as a very good example. So the summary is the continuous practice and the upscaling of the ICM in Xiamen has mentioned the various dimensions of the integration into the local government's decision making, which I think is the key drivers or the key factors for the successful for the ecosystem restoration practice. And if I have time, I'd like to share with you the information about the international workshop on science and management of blue carbon, which is planned to be held next year in Xiamen. So, which is to be organized by our university and the PEMSEA and other partners. So, if you are interested, please contact us, and we will distribute the information to all of you through our network later when we have more information. So the reason for this international workshop is that, of course, for COMI, we have structured the research areas recently, and also the ocean carbon management has been included as one of the research area. And in Xiamen University, we have a very strong oceanography research, including the wetland ecosystem research, and we have a very good facilities. Actually, it's a research base. So about the mangrove, and our colleagues use the remote sensing technologies and also the digital technologies to look at the carbon sink in the coastal wetland in Fujian provinces. And also we have the pioneer projects on the blue carbon trading, which we use the mangrove carbon to sell in the market, and this has been applied to in Xiamen, which is the first case, and so that's why we want to hold international workshops, so that we hope we can the both network of the local government and the learning centers will be involved in our future workshop. So I think that's all for my slides. So thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Fang. And we will move to the answer and question. Probably we can have one or two questions for Professor Ferdinand and Dr. Fang. Please, probably from the audience. Okay, one, and then, okay, we will start with the first audience that will give a question. Please, your name and where are you from?
Thank you for the time.
My name is Joaninha Silva from UNDP Timor-Leste. My question goes to Mr. Ferdinand. There is, it was already explained that indirect conservation and direct conservation. And the second is diving tourism. My question is direct conservation is the community base could feel that what we have conserved move their life. My question is, what is the right-based approaches of direct conservation to have a successful of conservation? And the second, the diving tourism is a people who went to the sea, they can feel what they have done. But then what is the main purposes of the tourism, diving tourism for people who dive in to develop in the sea? Thank you.
Okay. Two questions for Prof. Ferdinand. Are there another one people who will give a question for the two presenters? Okay. Silakan.
Thank you. Very interesting presentation. I will ask to Professor from IPB, Ferdinand Yulianda.
Yeah.
How to harmonizing?
Yes.
I'm Rashad from Sukabumi, West Java, Indonesia.
Okay.
How to harmonizing and integrating terrestrial spatial planning and coastal and marine spatial planning. As you know, in X number 23 in Indonesia about local government, marine zone is under provincial authority and terrestrial zone is under local government authority. And where is Indonesia in best practice to harmonizing between marine zone and terrestrial zone in action? I mean best practice and success story. And for Professor from Xiamen, I want to ask about how to engage local people in planning process and method in Xiamen, China to engage the local people in planning process. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are two two questions from the first peserta, and then to Professor Ferdinand, and the others from Pak Asep, one for Professor Ferdinand and one for Dr. Fa. I think Prof. Ferdinand, you can start first. Halo, yeah. Silakan, Prof.
Yeah. Bu Nevi, can you repeat the question, the question from
the first? They are talking about the direct conservation.
direct conservation, yeah.
And community based. What is the right base to success on conservation? I think this is the related to direct conservation and community based. And then the second is what is the main purpose? Yeah. Related with the diving, because this is like a diving conservation. Yeah. So they have a purpose just to see. And so what is the main purpose for like a diving ecotourism activity? Yeah.
Okay, I try to catch the question there, yeah, Bu Nevi, yeah. Because the voice is not too clear here in my computer and in but the first question is about the direct conservation. Yeah, we know that we have to approach, yeah, to kind of approach conservation management Yeah, because we talk about the concept conservation. It's not only in the inside of our conservation area, but we propose to this concept to be applied also in other out of the conservation area. Yeah. In order to maintain the sustainable resources, of course, the conservation concept is very important to apply for all the area. Yeah. Direct conservation can be done only inside the conservation area. For example, like a marine national park, so is all kind of the rule conservation management can be released in this area. Yeah. But if we talk about the aquatic area, we cannot control the only certain area. So sometimes we got the pollution from other side with distance or long distance. Yeah, sometimes can be more than 10 kilometers from our area. So we have to explain to other people in other sector, but they have to keep the environmental condition in the good condition, without the pollution and without the destruction in all the marine resources. So we have to keep the coral reef, some one of the marine resources is very important for the ecotourism. And on the other hand, the coral reef is a kind of species, the vulnerable species. It's easy to be damaged by the pollution or the direct activity from human.
I think also related to the next question is harmonizing the terrestrial and marine zone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we have to make collaboration between terrestrial management and coastal marine management here. They call it the ICM, Integrated Coastal Management. So we have to talk about to have make some activity in the lands to avoid the pollution, garbage, waste, something like that. To yeah. But it's not easy, I think, yeah. But we have to move to other the top level who make the policy to to collaborate between terrestrial interest and marine interest. We have a KKP, KKP is marine and fisheries.
You lost your voice, bro. Hello?
Yeah. Okay. It's trouble with my computer. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay, I think we got your point, yeah. So for terrestrial and marine zone, that because this is more than one ministry, and then it to the higher level. Or in Indonesia, we have Kemenko Marves, yeah. Probably they.
Yeah, I hope. Kemenko.
Okay. Okay. So I think that they can solve both zone, yeah. Now we move for the next question to Dr. Fang. How to engage the local people in the activity? So,
Okay, thank you very much for your question.
yeah.
I I will answer the question in terms of my understanding of the local people. I think you are questioning about the stakeholders, and that's very important for the stakeholders' involvement in the process of the marine spatial planning, and also that's also the case in Xiamen. We have, I think broadly we have two different group of the stakeholders. One is those will be directly affected by the zoning process or the marine spatial planning result. So those will the plan, the zoning plan will be consulted with those stakeholders like the sector, the department of the local government, and also some association. So this is the first group. The second group is those which will who will be indirectly affected, or who have have some interest in the zoning. So I think that there also one is the experts and the scientists. So in Xiamen, the ICM, we have the ICM expert group. So the expert group will also be consulted in the process, and some consultative meeting will be held in the process to make sure their opinions will be collected in the press process, and the feedback will be given to be provided to those experts or scientists. Actually, in Xiamen, in the 2007, the scientists, the experts actually which against a big project which has been changed the government's decision, and finally the big project was reallocated to the other places. And last but not least is the general public. So when we develop the zoning process, the general public will be there will be some like a questionnaire or the interview in the local community to collect their ideas, or also to for the survey of the existing use of the three areas. And after they have the draft of the plan, the zoning plan, this will be displayed in the planning exhibition hall, which will allow the general public to give their feedback. And also this will be published in the local newspapers, or the information about the zoning will be published in the local newspaper or radios and so on. So there are many media ways to make sure that the general public also has opportunity to give their comments or opinions on the zoning plan. I think that is what we usually do in Xiamen. I think almost the same in other other cities in China.
Okay, thank you very much. Nice presentation. So in Xiamen, they move from sectoral to ICM approach here, which is give more space for the public and community to get involved. Yeah. Thank you very much. It's really nice presentation this morning, and we will give applause for Professor Ferdinand and Dr. Fang.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Ferdinand and Dr.
Yes,
Frank. You can join with us for the whole session. And if you have something, especially, I know Prof. Ferdinand is a dean, probably have something to do, then you can leave the room Zoom meeting. And
Yeah.
we will move to the second session. I will call the next presenter, Dr. Handoko Adisantoso. Dr. Handoko Hadisantoso is a regional project manager, UNDP, GEF, and PEMSEA, Arafura and Timor-Leste Ecosystem Action Phase 2. And then the second today, Dr. Handoko will present about transboundary issues in coastal and ocean management in Arafura and Timor-Leste. And then I will also call to go to France, Miss Su Jung Lee. I hope I'm not misspelling. From Busan Metropolitan City, Government RO Korea. And Miss Su Jung Lee will present marine litter management and reduction. Miss Su, yes, you can. I think now we will have all the three presenters together. And last but not least, I will call Miss Annabelle Kayab Yap, Head of Provincial Government, Environment and Natural Resource Office, Cavite Provincial Government, Philippines. And she will present the title of topic today is Water Use, Conservation and Management, Protecting Ecosystem and Community Human Health. This is a really nice topic. So all of us is here, and each presenter will present 15 minutes. Then I will remind the last 5 minutes and the last 2 minutes. Yeah. And after the whole three presenters present their speech, then we will have a question and answer. So the first time I will give it to Mr. Handoko. Time is your Pak Handoko. I will start when you start speaking.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Ex-Situ project, I will be presenting related to the projects, especially on the transboundary issues in coastal and ocean management in the Arafura and Timor-Leste. Can you open the PPT, please? No, you can just open the PPT. This is not a USB. This is the... Yeah, and then just slideshow, please. Okay, so. Not work, bro. Oh, hold on. Yeah, just leave it. Okay. Okay. So my talk will be about 7 points here. The first, where is the Arafura and Timor-Leste regions, for those who are not familiar with. And then the second related to the biodiversity, socioeconomic, and valuation of the areas. And then the third one, environmental transboundary issues itself. What kind of issues we are facing so far. And then the fourth one is introduction of the ETSI projects, and then what we are working, and then what kind of activities to address the issues. And then the fifth point is related to our work at national, regional, and local level. And then I will provide you a case study from Rotendao, East Nusa Tenggara, related to our work at a local level. And the last one's related to summary. Oh, next slide, please. Okay. Yes, the same. Okay, so this is the Arafura and Timor-Leste in the blue color, yeah. So surrounded by 4 littoral countries, we call it littoral countries. So Arafura and Timor-Leste is treated as the semi-enclosed seas. So under UNCLOS, UN's UNCLOS, UN Convention on the Law of the Seas, countries surrounded by semi-enclosed seas must collaborate in terms of research and managing the resources. Yeah, I think most of the people familiar with the CTI. So the HC region is like the adjacent to it. So this like part of the few small area of Timor-Leste in the southern part, but mostly not really overlap with the CTI area. And then the second, if in terms of issues, if we are talking about the coral triangle areas, has a strong focus on marine and coastal habitat and biodiversity conservation. But then for the Arafura and Timor Seas, our issue, the highlight issue is about IUU fishing and also marine pollution. If you recognize maybe that in the Arafura and Timor Seas, so many oil and gas companies, yeah, in the Timor Gaps and then surrounded areas. And then in terms of ecological, socioeconomic and valuations, it's quite diverse. Yeah, the first related to the species as coral, reef fish, and then cover 25% of the world mangrove is quite big. Yeah, especially in the Papua province. Yeah, and then there are 45 mangrove tree species. And then also support migratory, rare, and threatened species like sea turtle, dugong, shark, and rays. And also rich in non-living natural resources, as I mentioned, including oil and gas reserve. High productivity of sustains both small and large fisheries. Yeah, many people said if we look at the Arafura in Timor Seas in the night, it's like the night market is very lighter. Yeah, so many because so many big vessels there doing the fishing. And then in terms of socioeconomic, the Arafura and Timor Seas important economic resources for the ATS countries, contribute to livelihood and food security, provide more than 50% of fish, yeah, to most people in the region, and strong linkage, and also linkage between environment and to the culture, and particularly a number of indigenous fishing communities, customary laws, shipwreck, and then also aircraft wrecks. And then based on our assessment in 2020, the value of the Arafura in Timor Seas approximately about 7.3 billion US dollar annually. So it's quite a big amount in terms of the economic valuations to support the economic livelihood of the people. The highest contribution of the economics coming from the cultural services, in particular from tourism. The next is from also fisheries, wood, and aquaculture. However, Arafura and Timor Sea also facing several threats. Yeah, we identified 5 we call it transboundary issues. Yeah, namely unsustainable fisheries, decline and loss of habitat, loss of biodiversity or species, marine and land-based pollution, and impact of climate change. So to answer these questions, we have the ETSI here. So the idea about the regional collaborations of the Arafura in Timor Seas regions started when the 3 countries agreed to establish the forum. They call it Arafura and Timor Seas Expert Forum, or ATSEF, in 2003. The ATSEF objective actually to foster collaboration between government and non-government stakeholder in Arafura and Timor Seas region. So through the ATSEF, then was implemented the Arafura and Timor Seas phase 1. So we have HC1 here during 2010 until 2014. From the first phase, about 5 years, the projects had agreed and also endorsed, we call it the TDA, the Transboundary Diagnostic Analysis, and also the Strategic Action Program, or SAP. And then also we develop also NAPS, we call it National Action Program for Indonesia and Timor-Leste. So from the first phase, all the three ministers, Ministry or Minister of Environment of Australia, Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Timor-Leste, and Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries Indonesia signed to adopt the Strategic Action Program in 2014. However, after that, there is a gap about 5 years due to the project preparation, endorsement, and approval. So now we have the HC2 project running from 2019 and then will be end till the end of 2024. So we have also an additional formal engagement from PNG. So in the HC1, we only have 3 countries: Indonesia, Timor-Leste, and Australia. But then in this case, in the second phase, we have additional PNG also engaged formally with us. So the mandate for the HC2 is to support the initial implementation of the adopted SAP. Of course, the goal is to sustain the flow of ecosystem, goods and services from the Arafura and Timor Sea through the transboundary governance strategy that is rooted in the national development priorities that align with the SAP objective. So the HC2 is the second phase, yeah, and then this is to enhance the regional collaborations among 4 countries. So Indonesia, Australia, PNG, and Timor-Leste. So of course, we focus on strengthening the regional governance structure, as well as supporting actions to address the 5 transboundary environmental problems. And then to achieve the objective, the project designed with 3 components. Yeah, the component 1 related to the governance, the second related to the improving large marine ecosystem carrying capacity, and the third one related to the knowledge management. We have also 9 expected outcomes, 23 target output. And then I think I will not go to detail about what we are having here, like the component and then outcome and then output. But then I think for the first one, in the component 1, we would like to establish the regional governance mechanism among 4 countries. Yeah. The second one, of course, to address the transboundary issues, yeah, indicated in our strategic action program, and the last one related to the knowledge management on how to scaling up our success. So this is component 1, component 2, and component 3 related to the knowledge management. And then I think I will move to the case study in one of our areas. For your info, I think if you can see in the first slide, sorry, maybe I need to back to the first slide, this one. So we working in the regional, national, in the local level. So in the local level, we have 8 sites here. So 3 in Indonesia, in Rotendao, in Merauke, in Aru, yeah, and then also in Aru, Maluku, and then also in Merauke, Papua. In Timor-Leste, we are working in 5 municipalities in the southern part of Timor-Leste, and in PNG we focus in the South Fly district of the Western Province. So we have 9 sites here. So I would like to talk a bit about the case study in Rotendao in East Nusa Tenggara Province. What we are doing in the Arafura, in the Rotendao district of the, yeah, sure. Yeah, in Rotendao. So Rotendao is located between Sawu and Timor Sea here, yeah, and then also a sparsely populated island with relatively pristine and then a good marine environment, and also rich in marine biodiversity. There are several popular tourist objects there. One of them is Oeseli Village. I think if you have time, you can visit there. It's a nice village there in Oeseli. However, the area is threatened by pollution due to increasing the economic development and activities in the coastal area. I think those who are familiar with the case of Montara Bay, for Montara incident, yeah, oil spill incident, also one of the threat to the biodiversity, including the seaweed farming. So we identified here at least in two case issues. The first related to climate change, the second related to the marine pollution. Related to climate change, based on our assessment with our partner, that we identified here that Rotendao is one of the vulnerable area from the climate impact. The second, based on our assessment on the marine pollutions, there are two kind of so the most threat, the most problem source. The first from the oil spill, the second from the marine litters here. So from the climate change here, one of the focus is about the coral reef and also seagrass that really threat to those the ecosystem. And based on the modeling, we did oil spill modeling using genome, collaborate with the Korean Environmental Institute. So we know that the southern coast of Rote and Timor Islands are the most vulnerable to oil spill incidents. So what we are doing in Rote here, so we supporting the implementation of coastal governance through the ICM approach, integrated coastal management approach, as well as the ecosystem restoration to mitigate and respond to climate change. Also build an early warning system to marine pollution, strengthening gender and awareness stunting issues in fisheries product, and also seaweed cultivators economic development. So in the case of the ICM, so ICM assessment completed and action plan developed and endorsed by the local government. So the local government, the district, and also the provincial governments really supported to us, even supported the agreement at village level as a basic to develop provincial regulation on the coastal management. The focus on the PERDA or provincial regulations, among others related to the marine ecosystem conservation, climate change adaptation strategy, disaster mitigation, and gender role in strengthening the governance. So we focus in 4 districts. Here, Oseli for the seaweed. In Boa Village, we focus on the coconut oil processing. In another village is mangrove coffee, and in Landutori related instant seaweed-based food and beverage.
1 minute left.
Okay, Bu. Yeah, this is some valuation from our works in the 4 villages related to the management authority, ecosystem. Just to emphasize that we work with the community, not only talking about the issue, but also on how to increasing the livelihood of the people. And as a summary, I think the first that the ATS regions for the summary, Bu, this is a highly diverse productive area, but written by 5 transboundary issues. And since 2019, the HC2 have worked at different levels. So in the regional, national, and local level to tackle the issues. And local communities are the backbone for the ATS sustainable coastal and marine development, but are at the forefront of climate change impact and other issue in a coastal area. And lastly, that conservation initiative introduced by us aim to engage local community as partner while bringing economic benefit to local communities by establishing sustainable livelihood and empowering women. I think that's all. Thank you. Over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Handoko. We will move to the second presenter, Ms. Su Jung Lee. So this is your time now. Bahan presentasi. Hello. The slide. Okay. Yeah. Di close dulu yang pertama. Oh, oke. Masih. Hang ya. Manggil pula. Langsung ke
Yeah, thank you. It's my great pleasure to meet you all. I'm Sujang Lee from Busan Metropolitan City, Republic of Korea. On behalf of the mayor of Busan, I'd like to express my gratitude and respect for over 50 PNH members who have been working together for a long time in marine environment management. Busan joined the PNG last year. I'm glad to participate in this forum and share our policies on the marine environment system. I'll give you a presentation on marine litter reduction and management in Busan metropolitan city. Next. Okay. Busan is located in the southeastern tip of Korea. The city have active port logistics, fisheries, resorts, and tourism industries, and is located at the meeting point of large river and sea. So there is a lot of garbage inflow. Next, please. Busan Port is world's sixth largest port, and there are about 27,000 companies related to maritime industries in Busan. Next. Marine litter is a global issue which requires a concerted efforts of all the countries. The government of the Republic of Korea has established a national marine litter management plan since 2009. Busan City is also making an annual marine litter management action plan. The city is also effectively responding to marine litter issues. Busan operates a marine litter collection vessel to collect marine litter deposited at sea. Port and beach litter are also collected by residents. Next. Busan City has allocated $1,007 million over the last 5 years for implementing 10 programs and projects. As a result, we collected 40,000 tons of marine litter. In the fall of 2020, about 3,000 tons of garbage floated around the beach due to a big typhoon, and coastal restoration are urgently carried out. Next. This is marine litter collection vessel, Busan number 503. Deposited litters are mostly composed of abandoned fish gears, which posed significant stress to fisheries resources through ghost fishing. Next. Busan established the Marine Environment Management Committee in January 2022 to solve the marine litter problem and promote field-oriented policies. Experts and citizens participate in deliberation and advice on the implementation plan for the management of marine litter. In addition, we operate a living lab to solve the marine litter problem in cooperation with the local universities and civic groups. Next. Recently, as the citizens' interest in the marine environment has increased, various ideas and projects are being proposed, and projects in which the government and the private sector cooperate are being expanded. We are carrying out various activities such as collecting marine litter in the tetrapods, collecting used tires under the sea, and conducting beach cleanup with families. Now, I'd like to introduce new projects to reduce marine litter. First one is a monitoring system for the prevention of marine debris. Last year, our team collected data for machine learning by using drones to take picture of marine litter. And this year, we started a project to develop an automatic image analysis system for monitoring marine litter. When the development of the system is completed, it is expected that data on the distribution location of marine litter, its properties, and the amount of waste will be provided so that marine litter can be managed more scientifically. Next. The budget for the marine debris collection and treatment increases every year. This budget is prepared by central and local governments and funds. As a result, about 7,600 tons of debris are collected every year that flows into the sea through large rivers and streams. Next. This slide shows the marine litter recycling project of Busan. Busan was the first in Korea to sign an agreement for a marine litter recycling project. Venture companies producing pre-treat waste fishing nets, large corporations that produce textiles, and numerous fishermen are also participating in this project. Nets, rope, and other marine litter are separated and collected by a dedicated waste collection vehicle. And the waste nets are cut and processed, then made into nylon threads or recycled products. The marine waste recycling project is in the pilot stage and will be gradually expanded in the future. Next. This is what we do, tackle the blind spots for marine litter collection. Once the debris enter into the tetrapod area on the shore, it's difficult to get them out and human access is very dangerous. Wetland area are also one of the collection blind spots. Marine litter left for a long time can spoil the beautiful scenery of the city, create odors and microplastics. Next. Busan is developing marine litter collection equipment in the tetrapods to solve the problem of marine litter in blind spots. Local universities and residents will directly participate in the project, while collection equipment and related technologies such as mobile navigation and digital maps will be developed. Next. To strengthen cooperation in managing marine litter, Busan signed business agreements with various related organizations to keep the sea clean. In the future, participating organizations will operate a working level consultative body to discover and implement phased cooperative tasks to reduce marine debris. Next. Last year, the city of Busan joined PNLG to share technology and experience with each local government. To future generation of marine environment activists, we support the Junior Marine Conference every year. Discussing marine environment agenda proposed by elementary, middle, and high school students across the country with experts to induce interest and seek actionable strategies. Next. To encourage the participation of general public and fishermen, Busan promoted various projects such as beach cleanup, marine environment music concerts, education, and campaigns. By designating monthly beach cleanup day, government agencies, local fishermen, and residents voluntarily participate in garbage collection. Next. I'd like to explain the desired effects of the marine debris reduction project. By utilizing advanced technologies such as drones and artificial intelligence, we'll be able to solve current issues and build a database management system. From an economic point of view, we'll be able to increase the efficiencies of marine debris collection, reduce the social cost, and raise public awareness of the marine litter problem. In addition, it's expected that technology and best practices will spread to other regions, creating a new wave of marine litter reduction at home and abroad. Next. The following is the 7th International Marine Debris Conference held in Busan last September. The IMDC was held in the US until the 6th conference, and the 7th event was held in Korea for the first time. The event was co-hosted by the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, and the Ministry of Ocean and Fisheries of the Republic of Korea, and sponsored by National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. The event concluded very successfully with about 1,000 participants from around the world, including marine environment experts and policymakers who participated in academic presentations on various topics such as monitoring, research, and international cooperation on marine debris.
You have 5
Next.
minutes.
Busan, next please. Busan has set the Green Smart City as the city's core vision and seeks to rapidly transform itself into a carbon neutral city. Furthermore, we are committed to sharing this vision with all people around the world, which all humanity needs to pursue together in an era of climate crisis and a grand transformation toward digitalization by winning the bid to host the 2030 World Expo in Busan. In this regard, we cordially ask our member cities to give your active support to Busan to host the 2030 World Expo. Next. As a member city of PNLG, Busan will actively cooperate with the local governments in each country as well as the city-based network for the sustainable development and management of shores and the ocean. It will be a good opportunity for Busan to learn about the various experiences and lessons from foreign local governments. Lastly, Busan is strongly committed to playing an active role in PNG, and we wish the continuous success of our member cities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Last but not least, we will call our third presenter for this session, Ms. Enable Kayap. Yeah. Yes, you can start. You can start. Okay, no problem.
Okay. Next, please. Okay, good morning, everyone. Next slide, please. So, I will be presenting the water use and conservation in the context of ensuring ecosystems and community human health in the province of Cavite. Slide. So the content of my presentation, number one is an overview. What is Cavite province? Second is water use and conservation in the province of Cavite. Third, what are the issues and challenges that we encountered? And then the four actions that has been taken. Next slide. So for Cavite province, we are actually part of the Manila Bay region. We are one from the among the eight provinces in the region, and we are actually surrounded with bodies of water. One of it is Manila Bay, West Philippine Sea, and Laguna Lake. Our total land area is around 142,426 square kilometer. And we are actually categorized as first-class province in the Philippines. We are divided into 8 congressional districts with 7 cities and 16 municipalities with a total of 829 barangays. Our coastline length based on the coastal use zoning that we did in 2009 is around 122.574 kilometers. Next slide. So for the whole province, we are actually considered it as a whole watershed area, but we do have 6 major rivers that we also considered as watersheds. Next. So we have the next, please. Bacoor River watershed. This is actually at the lowland area. Next. Imus River watershed. This is the first water quality management area signed by the Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Next. San Juan River watershed. Next. Cañas River watershed, the second water quality management area declared by the national government. Next. Labac-Alimang River watershed. And the biggest watershed in the province is Maragondon River. Slide. What about the human resources that we have in the province? In 2015, the population of the province of Cavite is around 3.6 million, but currently we're already 4.3 million in population. For 2015, almost 35% are situated in the rural area, while the 65% is situated in the urban areas. So as you can see in the graph, we have an increasing trend of population because of the in-migration, because the province of Cavite is served as the powerhouse of the country. We are the most populous province in the country with a growth rate of 3.37 in 2015, while in 2020, we increased to 3.57, higher than the natural growth rate in the country. So we are highly industrialized area. That's why we also have increasing in migration, and we are only 15 to 20 minutes away from Metro Manila. Next slide. In addition, the number of households is 998,558. The population density per square kilometer is 2,856. Our labor force is 2,741. As I mentioned a while ago, we are highly industrialized area, but we have an increased percent in literacy rate. It is 99.66%. For our health services for the whole province or whole Caviteños, we do have private and public hospitals. For private hospitals, we have 43. And for public hospitals operated by the provincial government, cities and municipalities, we have 12. For the infant mortality rate per 1,000 live birth, we have 9%. Maternity mortality rate is 40%. Crude death rate is 3%. And then crude birth rate is 9%. For our economy, Cavite has 64 economic zones, wherein inside these economic zones, we have 1,226 establishments. Cavite is also considered or acknowledged as the most competitive cooperative in the Philippines. We have registered cooperatives of 219, micro enterprises 12,000, small enterprise 51, medium enterprise 31, and large enterprises 91. And currently, the province is actually engaged in the Cavite Port development and in the establishment of the Sangli International Airport in Cavite City. Next slide. For the next content or topic that I will discuss is the water use and conservation. We are actually still in the framework, or we are following the framework of PEMSEA for the integrated coastal management. And we are actually targeting the water use and supply management. Why? Later on, I will discuss. Next. For the SOC, or the State of the Coast report in 2017 of the province, next slide. It was determined that the critical situation among the 35 indicators is the water supply and management in the province because of the increasing population, increasing demand, but are we still have sufficient supply to provide this number of population? But the red phase indicates that we also encountered poor waterborne health-related diseases in the province. Next slide. But we committed to do the SDG goal number 6, especially when we are in Ansan, during the signing of Ansan Declaration. The former governor signed the Ansan Declaration and commit the SDG goal number 6, ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation. That includes water quality and wastewater, water scarcity and use efficiency, protection and restoration of water-related ecosystems, and integrated water resources management. Next slide. For our first study in July 2012, wherein everything emanates, and it's been a lessons learned for us, and it guides us in terms of planning and providing legal policy framework. The first study for groundwater resources in the province is the Cavite Integrated Water Resources Management, wherein its main objective is to determine current and future water supply, determine availability and quantity of surface and groundwater, formulate a comprehensive water resources development and management framework, undertake a socio and environmental impact evaluation, identify the network of institutional relationships in water resources development and management, and lastly, to present description of the organizational structure of governing water institution, because we do not have a government structure to monitor the under the provincial government to monitor the water use and supply management. Next slide. So based on the study, the estimated water production capacity per agency, we have 17 water districts owned by government and private. So every day during the 2012 study, the extraction rate of the groundwater is around 303,391 cubic meters per day. Okay, we have 293 pumping stations that time. Now we have 300 plus. Next slide. Recharge and recoverable groundwater. So if we are actually tired, we recharge by sleeping, by eating. Our cell phone, if it is low bat, we recharge it through electricity. But our groundwater, it is actually recharged through the rainwater. But if we have this development or everything will be developed in Cavite, the recharge zone is actually, it will also decrease. And all stormwater or the flood water will go directly to the river. And we need to identify also if we have still, if our river has this greater channel capacity to accommodate the unfiltered flood water, sorry. So for the recharge and recoverable groundwater, the Rosario, which lies at the lowland area in Cavite, has only 0.739 million liters recoverable rate, while the highest is in Silang, 91.3. So currently, Silang, you can reach the groundwater of Silang is around 150 meters depth. So it's actually decreasing also. Next slide.
We have 5 minutes left.
Okay. Water demand forecast based on the population and based on the water sector, based on the sector, domestic, agricultural, industrial, recreational water demand. Based on the population, we will encounter, next slide, please. The available water supply in the province of Cavite, groundwater is 618 million liters per day. But the demand is 1,929. So by 2020, the projection is that we will have a 51 million liters deficit if we will not do anything or mitigate the impact of increasing water supply and obstruction in the province. Next slide. So the next study is the groundwater utilization in the province. The main objective of this is to determine if the water refilling stations in the province of Cavite is actually connected to the service provider or not, or if they are directly extracting to the groundwater. So for the 1,280 respondents, 50 per districts, most of them are actually saying they are directly extracting to the groundwater without any water rights. And if you have noticed, the lowland areas, I don't know if you are also experiencing here in your country, if there is heavily flooded and inundated, the level of the groundwater is actually the same with the level of the water of your toilet bowl, especially if it is not sealed, or we call it bottomless. So if that happens and you have this adjacent water refilling station in the area, the level of the extraction of this refilling station is actually the same of the water of your septic tank. Okay, next slide. That's why it's nutritious. Joke. Just kidding. The last study that was finished in 2018 is the province commissioned it to the Cavite State University. It entitled Surface Water Assessment and Economic Feasibility of Bulk Water Supply in the province, because we do need to provide or innovate or look for another technology to use or utilize our surface water. It has 7 components: biophysical, surface, river quality, economic, social acceptability, and technical feasibility. Next slide. And thanks to PEMSEA and 4CCs and ASEAN Norwegian project, because we are one of the recipient of their fund to conduct the plastic pollution study. So we have it's actually downloadable in PEMSEA website. A Shano study on plastic use and waste management in the food service industry. It is actually within the Imus River watershed, specifically in Dasmariñas City, the highly populated area because of the commercial and residential subdivisions. Mapping and characterization of Imus River watershed using Geographic Information System, or GIS. The next study is assessing knowledge, attitude, and practices concerning plastic, because because all of us is saying that it's been time immemorial that we are still combating the issue of solid waste management, and we oftentimes mention that attitude is one of the hindrances. So in this study, it was actually identify what are the factors or variables. Yeah, next slide. 1 minute. Survey on plastic litters along Imus River and social implications of plastics. It has 3 objectives, mainly waste reduction, environmental monitoring, assessing impacts of plastic, education, and dissemination. Next slide. Okay. For the issues and challenges, we have this intensive urbanization. This is the JICA. I crafted it in the flood control study of JICA in Cavite. And in 2020, we have 25% decrease in land cover in 2003, but 65% planned by LGU based on their comprehensive land use plan. Okay, next slide. So the lessons learned is that the present water supply and distribution system in Cavite can no longer able to meet the present and future aggregate demand for water. Water obstruction in a number of areas in the province has already reached critical points, causing decreased groundwater levels and resulting in ground mining as well as saltwater intrusion. And planning development or provision of water supplies the link from that of sanitation, lack of clustered centralized solid waste management facility. We do not have a centralized landfill in the province. A sufficient investment capacity of the local government. Next slide. Actions taken based on the study that we will have 51 MLD deficit. So the province issued a moratorium for the non-conversion of agricultural land into other purposes in 6 municipalities of the province. And then the creation of task force on solid waste management, and then the established water testing laboratory in the province to monitor the water quality. Last slide. Yes, last slide. Okay. Arbor Day, this is to support the national greening program of the national government. We do have the planting of mangrove, of trees, either mangrove or forest trees. We started it in 2011 and we were able to sustain it up to present. Next slide. Water quality management, as mentioned a while ago, the 2 WACMA areas. Next slide. And the collection and dredging of catch basin of Imus River in partnership with the DPWH. Next slide. And we do also have yung solid waste trap. We put that in the river so that all waste will be trapped and then collected. The budget came from the national government, DNR, waste trap. And also the Cavite Water Summit, I tried to replicate the EAS Congress of PEMSEA. So it's also every 3 years. So we started in 2015, meeting our future water needs is the main theme. The second summit is in 2017, water security for all, pathways, innovations, and outcomes. And then in 2019, I joined the Water Summit and Solid Waste Summit because it goes hand in hand and we need to address also the water quality. But supposed to be there will be a summit in 2021, but due to pandemic, we're not able to execute it. Okay, that's all. Thank you for listening.
The next, we will move to the question and answer. I will give for the first people to give question. And are there anybody want to give a question to our 3 presenter? Hello. Yeah. Please, your name and your affiliation.
Thank you. I want to ask to Shu Jungli from Busan Metropolitan City Government. You mentioned about the database management system. How to use database management system to support decision makers, decision process in your place? Yes, just one.
Are there any
Thank you. My question is goes to Miss Su Jun from Korea. This very interesting about the recycling marine. I think recycling is very difficult to well organize because this is a big problem. But in Korea, it's very nice. In the presentation, it's very good. So sometimes people could not understood, and some of community well understood. But my question is, how you manage that, and then is there a successful develop, and how you make them to understand about the recycling marine? Thank you.
Thank you and good morning. My name is Ruh Chiwan from Kokong province in Cambodia. Thank you for your interesting topic today. And my question to Miss Anna, and how you get engaged the decision maker to be part of your project, and could you share us about the challenge as an example here? Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I repeat the question. As to Korea, how to use database management system to in decision making process. You mentioned about database management system in your presentation. How that support decision making process? Yes.
The first question for you.
Yeah, thank you for my interested in my presentation. But I cannot speak English very well, so if you send the question by email, I can send more detailed information. I'm sorry. And the recycling system about you asked me, and it's just a pilot stage, and it's very, I think, important to educate the fishermen because the waste nets, ropes, and other marine litters are separate. Is first step. It's very important, but it's very difficult to manage them. So we try to educate the fishermen and residents. Yes, as is the end. Yeah.
Mungkin bisa. Oke. Ibu Su ask you if it is possible to send. Ya. Jadi kalau ada through WhatsApp or application or email, yeah. And then yeah, she will give the email address for you to discuss further, because she has limitation to explain in detail in English, yeah. Okay. And for the next, we can move to Ibu An.
Okay. How do you get the support of the decision maker? Yeah. The first thing is that the target is how are you going to involve them, and make them, there's a sense of ownership in all the project implementation. So what we did is we do first the science and the information, we establish the science-based information in order for them to encourage, because it is really not encouraging if we will just mention figures or say something that it is not proven by science. So what we did is we mobilized the grassroots level, the sectors, and then from the sectors, we do have the consultation, and then we combined all the suggestions and knowledge and the possible actions that need to be undertaken in order to address especially the groundwater scarcity supply. So, and because it is very alarming, most of the chief executives and even the local and the national levels are actually supporting the provincial government of Cavite in combating the scarcity of water, because this is not easy for us. Once it is depleted, we cannot bring it back easily. We can address the solid waste, but in terms of water pollution of the groundwater and the depletion of the groundwater because of the increasing population, it is really hard, and it will take millions of years before it will bring back its natural state. Did I answer your question? Okay.
Is that all? Answer your question? Hello? Yeah? Good. Okay, thank you. And we probably can have one question last. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Suhendar Isaumar from the Research Center of the Environment and Clean Technology of the National Research and Innovation Agency, and also from Department of Agro-Industrial Technology of the Institute Technology Indonesia. So my question is addressed to Ms. Sunyun Lee, yeah, from the Busan. Yeah. So thank you for a very nice presentation. Actually, I was in Busan last month, yeah, joined on the PISAS, the North Pacific Marine Science Organization annual meeting at Busan. So on the time, I was in the Hangzhou Beach, yeah. So it's very impressive with the clean environment and something that. So my question is, the first is what is the key to the success of the Busan waste reduction, and how your government to organize all institutions who involved in on the reduction of waste? I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay. So the question, how you success with your program? What is the key to make this activity successful? Because it's really interesting. I think from the audience. And then the last, how your government to organize all these things to make this program success? Do you want to answer or do you want?
Yeah, thank you for the asking the question. And yeah, I think you visit Haeundae Beach. Yeah, it's very beautiful and clean. Yeah, the government and residents cooperate. We implement many marine litter reduction program and projects, and we have fund from central government and the local government, and it is we do systemic, and we use human power, and I think it's very important to cooperate other administration, yeah, and other regions is very important. And also I give you more detail by email. Sorry, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's all because we have to finish at 11:15, and then I just try to wrap up for this nice presentation today. Yeah, we start with the conservation in marine tourism. It's conceptual. Yeah, how to sustain our resource. Yeah, how to use in the right way. And then we have 4 case study, interesting case study, start from the ocean, and most of case study I think related with community pollution and also a transboundary problem. Yeah, but interesting. It's really very interesting. In all approach, they use like integrated coastal management approach. Yeah, where the government and the local community are working together. I think the success story because it's a really good planning from the government and community working together. In Indonesia, we also try to implement it ICM. Yeah, I know it is not easy to do it, easy to say it. We have to do it integratedly. Government, community working together, but in implementing process, it is not really as easy as we saw. But I think that's a good example from Busan, yeah, in Korea, and also in Philippines. I think in Philippines you have a lot of also activity like in Batangas, and then just now in Cavite, yeah, provincial, and in Arapuru is also entered to the second phase. I hope they can solve the problem in the second phase. Yeah, it's not a easy problem. So that's all. That's all our presentation. Yeah, and then they are talking about ICM, integrated coastal zone management. But I don't know in the future there is new concept that they call from ICM to TCM, transdisciplinary approach in coastal management. I don't know. This is probably something that we can help to solve our managing our ocean and coastal in the future. And then please, we can give applause to our presenter today. Thank you very much to Dr. Handoko. Ibu is in in Indonesia, Ibu Sunjung Lee and Ibu Annabelle Kayap Yap. And then also for the whole audience who stay here for the whole presentation. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I will give it back to our very nice master of ceremony.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah, give a big applause to the setting session. Wow, it's so nice presentation from all the speakers. To all the speakers, I invite you to go down, please. To Mr. Selamat Budi, beliau adalah Kepala Badan Pendapatan Daerah. We invite you, please, Mr. How are you, Mr.? Fine, thank you for coming. Ya, silakan Miss Sujung Lee, please. Miss Annabelle, and then Mr. Handoko, and also Miss Dr. Moderator, I forgot the name. Miss Nevi, please. Here we are. We have a mangrove replica and seaweed pressing art. The first one to moderator, please. The second picture. Wait a moment, ma'am. Oh, this one. Okay, this one. Yeah. Okay. Next. Finish. Okay, the second one, mangrove seaweed pressing art. Yeah, give applause. Wow. Next to Miss Sujung Lee. Yes. Give big applause to Miss Sujung Lee for nice presentation. Already? Yes, next, the seaweed pressing art. To Miss Sujung Lee. Thank you so much, Miss Sujung Lee. Next to Miss Annabelle from Philippines. Yes. Okay. Yes, give a big applause to Miss Annabelle for nice presentation. Thank you so much. Yeah, wow. Thank you, Mr. Budi. And the next, the last, Mr. Handoko. Wow, thank you for your nice presentation. Yes. Okay. To Miss Annabelle, please. We will going to take a picture together with Mr. Budi. Silakan Pak Budi, foto bersama. Dipegang saja, Pak. Okay, you can handle this one like this. This one. This is on the right hand. Yeah, silakan. Give a big smile to this one first. Yeah. Your good smile. Thank you so much. Okay. Would you like to say Tangerang Gemilang together? Tangerang Gemilang. 1, 2, 3. Tangerang Gemilang. Yes. Thank you. Would you like to have a seat, please? Thank you, Mr. Budi. Yeah, wow. This is such a nice presentation today. Yep. And also this one. Ya, diantarkan saja, Mbak. Okay. This one, thank you so much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the excellencies of invited guests for this sharing session. The time is over. Now you can go outside for having coffee break. But before that, let me give you announcements that after this, you have a lunch break. And then also you can go to exhibition hall. You can buy something from Indonesian creativity, or you can buy batik or something like that, and be back at 1:15 because we are going to go to field trip, then field visit day 1, to Pantai Indah Kosambi. So please be prepared and have a good time in lunch break and looking for exhibition hall. Please, thank you so much for today. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. You can have coffee or some snacks and you can drink in this room. You can eat in this room. Please be free. Time is yours. For field visit day 1 to Pantai Indah Kosambi, the bus will stand by in front of the Atria Hotel at 1 o'clock. The bus will stand by at Atria, in front of Atria Hotel at 1 o'clock. So now this is free time for you, and see you in the bus. you.